Hi, this is Dr. Randy Shepard, and I want to share with you something that I believe will absolutely and dramatically change your life and your relationships, guaranteed. It's been my joy and privilege over the last several years to be able to teach and train literally tens of thousands of managers and leaders with over more than 2,000 companies nationwide. And from that, I developed my book on peak performance leadership, how to successfully lead anyone. And one of the biggest things in this book that everybody keeps coming back to, that all of the managers raved about and said, oh my gosh, this is going to revolutionize my life, my marriage, and especially my management style, how I lead people, and how it's going to affect my team dramatically. It's chapter 7 of this book. It talks about team chemistry. And that's what I want to share with you. For 400 years before the time of Christ, the father of medicine, Hippocrates, realized that, hey, not everybody's the same. He was there looking at the anatomical attitudes of the body. Then he began to look at behaviors. And he noticed that there were people that were extroverts, and then there were those that were introverts. And he kind of delineated them down into 4 different styles. Remember what they were? The choleric and the sanguine, which were the extroverts. And then he said there was melancholy and the phlegmatics that were introverts. Now, how he came up with those names was because he thought, based on the bodily fluids, that if you had excess sanguine, which stood for blood, choleric, which stood for black bile, that you had this kind of personality. Over the years, we've understood that has nothing to do with bodily fluids. What we do know is that it has to do everything with genetic makeup. So you have a genetic makeup, a mindset that you were created with. And you have dominant and recessive genes. We all know that. Genetics Basics 101. But in personalities, it's what's so great about personalities and understanding personalities and the people on your team and the people around you and your spouse is that you get into the mind of the person. It's predictive of their behaviors, their attitudes, and their opinions. Like the choleric, they're predictive. They're the type of people that are kind of the natural born leader. They're driven, they're task driven, and they can run anything, and they can tell you, I can run anything. But they also have some challenges, right? They can be too bossy. They're the kind that have a hard time saying they're sorry. Then you got the sanguines. The sanguines, which are the life of the party. They're the cheerleaders. They're the ones that are out there, rah, rah, rah. Those are the extroverts. But they have weaknesses as well. Then you got the melancholy, that's more of a quiet, withdrawn, alone, but very analytical, facts-driven. And the phlegmatic, you have the calm, cool, relaxed, quiet person. Well, you got these personalities because that's the way God made them. Okay, that's the way they were made. And so looking at from that perspective, you can be predictive about how they're going to behave on certain things, or their attitude towards certain things, or even their opinions. You will actually learn how to understand them better than they know themselves. Well, over the years, because this has been fascinating, that Fortune 500 and 100 and 500 companies have spent billions of dollars in the personality industry trying to understand, before they hire somebody, their personalities, because it is predictive of behaviors, attitudes, and opinions. So on hiring the right personnel, they want to know. The thing I haven't liked about those is that they're too cumbersome. They take 30 to 45 minutes to do, and they can be very expensive. And they're just kind of singular in that they just talk about your personality, and you get a written description. What we developed was Trek 42. It's the latest, newest technology in personalities. In fact, it's unbelievable because you can learn a person's personality and yours in less than 3 minutes. Can you believe that? In less than 3 minutes. It's inexpensive. It's easy to use. It's easy technology. It's the latest. It has graphics. It not only has written information about you and others, but it also has a graphic picture of your personality. You have all 4 of those basic personalities in you, and there are dominants and recessive, but it becomes predictive of how you're going to live your life, how you're going to think, and how you're going to communicate, all these types of things. This is why we put Trek 42 together, so that instantaneously and quickly you can visualize teams, you can look at things, in a totally different perspective. And you can now build a peak performance team with peak performance leadership. That's right. So that's why I'm so excited to talk about and endorse Trek 42. Try your Trek 42 demo today. On the screen, we'll show you exactly the URL for that. Go there, take your demo. It takes only 15 minutes, and you'll be so glad you did.